Welcome to episode 6 of my Safari Van Adventure Van Life Safari Build. This episode honestly ran a little long. I encountered some problems, so I'm not going to talk too much. I'm just going to get right into it. Okay, so I am back at the van, and I'm going to do my final corner here. I got new bushings pressed into my leaf spring. I'll show you that here. That new bushings on both ends, pressed in and pressed out. I think that's a lesson in hidden costs in one of these projects, because buying the lift, buying shocks, all that stuff, I didn't anticipate having to buy new bushings and having to pay a shop to get them pressed in and pressed out, because that's probably like $120 total between the shop, new bolts. I got new bolts too. New bolts and buying the bushings and having them shipped here. Yeah, I'm looking like $120 extra, which isn't a huge amount, but it's just hidden costs. And then to go along with my exhaust that's going to need work, that's like an extra $500 worth of stuff that I didn't really anticipate. Which, whatever it is, what it is, it's not the end of the world, but it's just hidden costs that anytime you're working on an old vehicle doing a project, there's going to be more costs and parts involved than you think. Like, almost certainly. But anyways, I'm going to get to this tonight because it's Friday night after work. Probably only have a little bit of sunshine left. Well, if you can call it sunshine, it's cloudy and gray. But anyways, daylight. So I want to get this done. Ideally tonight, but anyways, I'm going to get to it. So I think my time-lapse camera died, but it's getting dark here quick. You can see the sun setting over there. Anyways, I got the one side bolted up, leaf spring bolted up, bolted in, and now I put my exhaust in, and sort of contacts here. I'll show you better in the morning when it's brighter out, but I just got my exhaust sitting here. And if you look, it doesn't align because of the body drop on the front, but not the back. But I'm just gonna put the rear shock in, and then it'll be too dark to film. So once I get the rear shock in, I'm going to kind of tidy up my stuff, I should say, and walk the dog. And then that pretty much, well, then I'm not going to film anything else tonight, but I'll come back tomorrow and I'll show you the problems and what it looks like, and we'll go from there. So, see you in the morning. So I started back on the van this morning. I finished up last night installing all the rear suspension. You can see I got the shocks in there. Because of the springs, they're a little bit of a pain, so you gotta have the jack underneath and then a lot of fiddling trying to get the bolt to go through. But honestly, not that difficult. And we have issues here where it touches the leaf spring. So I think these I'm gonna get extended, but I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do. I might chop the exhaust. Sorry if they keep rotating here. I might like chop the exhaust, make it like dump down instead of like out. But I'm gonna kind of go to the exhaust shop. I have an appointment booked on Friday along with an alignment, and sort of kind of get what they want to do, figure out what my cheapest, easiest options are, and go from there. But I currently have moved on. I'm gonna get back up again. I've currently moved on, and I have mostly installed my wiring for my there we go. Mostly installed my wiring for my light bar. I got once I put the battery in, I got the battery here. Once I put the battery in, I'm going to see if I can find a ignition wire source for just the light, on one of these random wires that are hanging down. Something easy. Otherwise, I'll just leave it illuminated all the time. I'm not that concerned. My Forerunner is the light's always on, and I've never had an issue. So, anyways, I'm gonna finish that up. Before I do that, what I've actually moved on to and started pre-filming, but I got this taken apart again. One thing I did do, I ground off these two little nubbins. They look like this. I ground off those two nubbins that kind of sit under this hose. So I just kind of felt like it was going to give me more room. And like, I didn't want those things to like poke up into the hose. Anyways, I just removed them. I don't know if it's a good or bad idea, but that's what I did. Then I started taking the belt off because I bought a new Daco belt kit and pulley, idler pulley and tensioner kit from Rock Auto. So I decided I was going to install that, and I started taking the belt off, and I realized that I needed to say something on camera here. But so anyways, I'm going to do that. It should be pretty easy. The idler just basically moves out of the way with I used a breaker bar with well, this is what I used. I used a breaker bar with just a regular thing. You could use a ratchet, I guess, but I used the breaker bar and just pulled out of the way. So it might be a pain to get it on, but it is what it is. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to replace these vacuum lines. These busted up vacuum lines, like you can see, they're just terrible. So I ordered some new vacuum lines in 2 different sizes from Rock Auto, so hopefully those fit. Yeah, hopefully those fit. Then anyways, once I do that, I'm gonna put the battery in, check for my light bar, and then I need to bleed brakes and do my power steering. But anyways, I'm gonna get back to working, and yeah, I'll be back.
Only do it because I took like 3 years of skipping. Oh, pretty close. So you cross your arms and jump at the same time.
Okay, so I've almost wrapped up everything in the engine bay here that I'm doing today. I got new vacuum lines there. You can see I got 2 of them. That's all the vacuum lines I think I saw. I got all my ugly wiring kind of messed up. Got this thing, the battery in here. I kind of hokey ratchet strapped it, considering well, considering that this bolt holds it on is totally rusted out. And I'm gonna have to go to the junkyard one of these days and get a new battery tray, because I can't buy them new online. At least I seemingly can't. So I'm gonna have to go there and find out. But for now, it's gonna be tied down with a ratchet strap. But one thing I did notice, you can see it here, this bolt no longer threads into my battery. So I'm gonna head off to Canadian Tire. I'm gonna buy a new bolt. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. I have to go to Canadian Tire before I can do anything more and buy a new bolt. I'm gonna need brake fluid and I think power steering fluid. Then flush them all out before I start this up, move it, and do some final adjustments on my torsion bars. Anyways, I'm excited, but I'm going to Canadian Tire. I'll be back later, potentially after lunch. Anyways, see you then. Okay, we're back at the van. I was just at Canadian Tire. Ate a Subway for lunch, and I'm basically ready to try to start this thing. So I got a battery terminal here with this extended piece so I can add accessories, like specifically my wiring. Anyways, I'm just gonna close this hood. Then we're gonna hop inside, grab some keys. We're gonna see what happens here. So I have my new Sasquatch lights switch here. I kind of wanted to put it over here originally, but then I kind of felt like this was going to be a better spot. But then it's also like, it's kind of weird being over by my passengers so they can mess with my lights, which is not good, but you can see it works. Turns on, you can't really see that good because it's daylight. But this does not currently illuminate. I could switch the jumper up and I could make it illuminate at all times, or I could, what I'm going to do eventually at some point, I said I was going to do it earlier, but one of these wires probably has an accessory ignition power source, so that I could have it turn on when I'm when the vehicle's on and when I'm driving, but it's not a constant light on here, because it doesn't sound like a lot, but when I sleep in my 4Runner with it on, it's kind of bright enough that it kind of annoys you at night. And obviously I plan on sleeping in this thing. Anyways, I'm going to try to start her up here. I'm going to move over into that newly vacated spot, and then I'm going to bleed the brakes. I said I was going to bleed the brakes and flush the power steering, but when I was at Canadian Tire, I just didn't buy power steering fluid. I was like hungry and I just lost interest, and I said screw it. So I just got brake fluid. It's everything else I can do another day. But anyways, let's see what happens here. Key in. We're good. I don't know how well you can hear, but you can tell I have no muffler. It's quite loud. Anyways, I'm gonna go move over there and I'll reconvene when I start flushing or bleeding my brakes. So we have a catastrophic failure. It kind of looks like tranny fluid, but I'm gonna have to figure this shit out pretty quick here. Kitty litter out. Okay, so I kind of tidied up a tiny bit, took some kitty litter on it, but obviously that's not good. You look down, I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but you can see there's oil all over, and it's clearly spewing something fierce from, I don't even know where. Kind of think I might have to take this bumper off and start from there. Fuck. That's not how I intended this to go. Okay, so pretty disappointed here.
Documenting your sweet spill in my yard?
Yeah, what do you have to say about it?
The fuck? Will it make a YouTube thing? It kind of cleans up after it.
I want to spray it off later, but
No. I'm gonna go lick it.
I want to spray it off later, but I'm gonna bleed my brakes first. Oh, but it's not that bad. Yeah,
See, I bet if you had Jackson's help, he wouldn't have let you do that.
I think you would have.
Started over there before he started moving it. I know. It's a good thing. I think the move probably helped because you probably didn't notice it over there.
Oh no, I would have
But
as
after
soon as
the
I got
fact.
out.
Oh man.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Okay, so pretty disappointed. Made a giant mess. Anyways, so I just gotta move on. I just ordered some O-rings on Amazon. 'Cause I think it was the O-ring that my transmission line goes into, that goes into the radiator. I think there's an O-ring, and I guess when I moved it, bent it out of the way, I broke it, and it now is gushing fluid. Because I drove this home, it wasn't gushing fluid, now it's gushing fluid. Yeah, anyways, that's where I'm about now. But anyways, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna change my brake fluid. It's pretty yucky. So I'm gonna bleed the brakes. I'm gonna go do the right rear, or no, the left rear, starting from the furthest away. And I'm just gonna do that. I think it's gonna slowly get dark on me, so I'm probably just gonna leave it and not come back on film tonight. I'm sad, so when I get sad, I don't film. Anyways, I'm gonna go get to it, scoop out that fluid, flush it. Anyways, see you later. So it's the morning. I just got around and I measured all the heights of the marking I made to compare it. And essentially with the lift, I gained 6 inches on most corners. One's 5.5 at the rear, one's 6, all within like pretty close. But I think this side is slightly higher than the driver's side or the passenger side. So I think I'm gonna look at the CVs and I'm gonna lower one side or raise it to make it even. But I want to look at the CV angle first before I kind of decide how steep of an angle I want to do it. But yeah, I'm gonna do some fine tuning. But also last night, when I discovered what was wrong, I did a little more research, and I think what was wrong with my transmission line was I guess GM has these little adapter things where it's like you push fit it in, and there's like a clip and a little collar thingy that goes over it. I think when I moved that line, I pushed it out. So I'm gonna go to the parts store soon. I don't know, today, tomorrow, whatever. And I'm gonna get a new adapter and put it in, because I'm pretty confident that's what was leaking. But in the meantime, I'm gonna adjust the height of this thing, fine tuning. So all I have left is that transmission line. But last night I also flushed the brake fluid, and you can see how dirty it was. And I really think that was probably going to be a huge improvement, because when I bought this thing, the brakes felt terrible. They didn't inspire any confidence at all. And now seeing how black this was, I really think that's going to be a huge improvement. But anyways, I'm going to go do some fine tuning on these torsion bars, get the heights even on the front. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, as I was adjusting these torsion bars, I kind of decided it was a good idea to test to see if my ball joints, the tie rods and such, were tight. But this tire moves quite a bit. There's quite a lot of play. So I'm not even 100% sure I'll be able to get an alignment when I get my exhaust fixed on Friday. But there's just more stuff I'm gonna need to replace. Like, frankly, I kind of anticipated having to buy new suspension components. I thought I could put it off like a little bit longer, but that feels pretty sketchy. So I might need to do that ASAP. But anyways, actually, I'll show you in here. I think it's probably bright enough. Shoot. This tripod working. You can see right there where all my movement is. So anyways, this is another one of the things to add to my to-do list, but I'm gonna lower it down now, and I loosen that side, tighten this side. I'm gonna see if they're even. Go from there. Okay, so I have done the final adjustment of the torsion bars, and I measure 33.5 inches on both sides. They're damn near close enough for me. So I'm pretty much at my final ride height, which you can check out. Other than obviously I'm gonna add bigger tires. But this is where it sits, and I think it looks pretty cool. Like, I think once I add some weight in the back will sink down a little bit, but probably not that much. considering I put on those coil springs. So I'm not expecting a huge amount of sag, but I'll definitely get some sag. And I think it looks pretty cool. So with 33.5 being my measurement, that gains me pretty much 5.5 inches on the front from where I bought this thing at. It was lowered when I bought it. He just lowered the torsion bars. So by the time I cranked it up, I gained 2.5 inches of torsion bar height plus the 3 inches of body lift. But that right rear was actually an inch lower when, at least to my measuring point originally. So I think this side was lower. And now that I've kind of discovered that it's got some bad suspension components in there, I kind of think maybe the previous owner had lowered it more on this side and it actually caused more damage over here than on the other side, which seems fine, at least component wise. But frankly, I'm probably going to replace all of them, all of the steering and suspension components anyways. But yeah, I think he maybe lowered it too much and that caused the problem. But anyways, I'm done on that for now. I might order that stuff in and be able to get it in time to fix it before I go to get an alignment, but that seems probably pretty unlikely at this point, so I'll probably end up just getting my exhaust fixed. But anyways, next time you see me, I'll probably fix the transmission line. But other than that, that's the end of this episode. Actually, it's probably not the end of this episode. I'll probably show you the exhaust when it's done and talk about how much money I spent. But anyways, transmission line, exhaust. Anyways, I'm done for now. Okay, I am back working on the van. I tried to do this yesterday, but I actually decided that I needed even more parts to solve my problem. So basically, the transmission cooler line going into my radiator is busted. So I bought this connector because I thought it was the connector. I bought it from Lordco, cost me 12 bucks. Turns out, not the problem. So when I went in there to replace the connector yesterday, I found the end of my, you're probably not gonna be able to see, but there's I have a picture that I'll put on here. This little crack here is where all my transmission fluid came out of. So my options were kind of buy a new transmission cooler line, or what I ended up, I kind of thought about it long and hard, and eventually at some point I was probably going to put transmission cooler on this van just because I think it's probably a good idea. So I just said screw it. So I bought an adapter for GM vehicles to plug into the radiator. So instead of this connector, I'm going to have an adapter, which hasn't come yet from Amazon, but I have a connector that should screw into the radiator and allow me to screw in that adapter. It'll have like a nipple on it that fits into the transmission cooler hose, and then I cut this end off, the end I just showed you, this one. So I cut this end off the pipe, and basically I'm going to stick my transmission cooler hose over that and run an external transmission cooler in series with the thing. That's my plan. I'll show you the cooler here. So I got a Hayden transmission cooler. What is it? Dang it, I can't remember exact. Oh, whatever, it's over. This is the size of it. It's like not the biggest thing. And actually in my head when I read the measurements, I thought it was gonna be slightly bigger. But anyways, not that concerned, because at the end of the day, I really only bought this, or half the reason I bought this was to solve my problem, and any external cooling is better than no external cooling. So I bought this, and I bought an extra set of hose, extra 4 feet of hose, and I'm gonna go take apart the front, and once I get it all apart, I'll show you what I'm gonna do exactly. Anyways, that's the plan. So I'm gonna go take apart the front of the van again. Okay, so van is apart. Okay, so van is apart. I have this thing half wired in, plugged in, hosed in, plumbed in. And so I'll show you what I got down here. So this right here is the line that broke. Like the ending was about here, went into the bottom of the radiator. Basically I cut this off and I just slid the new pipe over and I clamped it down. I have these clamps that were on whatever, they were on some other random hose, and then this is what came in the kit. I might go pick up another one of these clamps, but this wire or this hose doesn't have a barb on it, so it's the most at risk of coming off. But honestly, I'm not that concerned. I feel like in my Forerunner, I hooked it up the same way and I never had an issue, but then maybe I had a barb and I just don't remember. Anyways, that's what I did. It'll be at least good enough for now. But I have that hose running up through here. I put this little port here, and I put some vacuum line. I cut it and put it around the sharp edge, so it comes up through there, and then I think that's this hose, which is gonna go there. And this other hose is gonna connect to the radiator. And then this, I'm basically gonna mount somewhere around here. I'm gonna double check it clears my light bar and grill. But I'm gonna mount, this is the air conditioning condenser, and it's already pooped. So I cut this line to make it easier. But I'll show you what came in the kit here. So basically I have these zip ties that go through, I only got one hand here. So they go through, well, maybe this won't work. Yeah, so they go through, I'm gonna put them through these holes up here. And then it goes through these fins. And I was reading online, some people don't really like them because they say they could damage the fins, but since this condenser's poo, I'm not that concerned. So that's what I'm gonna do. But the sun is going down, so I'm just gonna keep working, and that might be the end of this. Anyways, see ya. So here we are with the final install of the transmission cooler. You can see it back in there, and it's pretty much done. I have one hose still disconnected. that I'm about to connect now. I'm not gonna film, the sun's going down. I only got like 15 minutes of sunlight, but I got a couple things that I want to get done here. So I have to connect the hose with this. It just came from Amazon. It effectively replaces this GM connector that goes to that connects the trans cooler to the radiator. So it just goes in, goes on the hose, put a clamp on it. So I gotta connect that, and then I have one other thing. I have this idler arm that I'm gonna connect. That replaces the wobbly bit in my steering. So I'm just gonna replace this, and I'm just gonna replace this, and then I'm gonna have to put in some transmission fluid, but I'll probably get to that tomorrow. I got an appointment on Friday, which is now 2 days from now, so I'm gonna put all this stuff in, and I probably won't come back unless there's problems until I have my new exhaust and I'm done at the shop, and I'll show you everything that's done. Okay, let's see you then. Okay, I just got back from the mechanic shop, and I got a new muffler. I'm going to show you that now. We just got welded onto that thing. There used to be a flange right here, but because of the smaller, different muffler, they just welded it on. And yeah, so that's what we got going. We got a substantially smaller muffler than before. Now let's hop up again here. Goes up right around the frame there, and then he has it worked out to come under here, because before this interfered. So that cost me $470 for that, and a new alignment, which is probably barely out anyways. So I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna tally up all the money I've spent since I blew the budget right out of the water on this thing. I'm gonna go tally everything up, give you the details and a breakdown of where I've spent and how much and where I spent all my money. But yeah, other than that, this van is totally ready to go and is now officially my daily driver. I just need bigger tires. Thanks for watching my video. And as promised, I got a little bit of budget talk here. So far, I've spent $5,100 on my van. But between the costs, I paid $2,000 for the van. And then I spent about $400 to get it back. I had to buy a SkyTrain ticket, a day permit. I had to pay taxes, so I think that was about $400. And as discussed in a previous episode, I spent $350 to get it up to the point where I have it now on the inside with flooring down, subfloor. So that's $350. My lift, all in, including shocks and the extra bolts I had to buy, and the shop to get them bushings pressed in and out. I had to buy bushings too. That cost me about $1,300. And this is all Canadian dollars for the record. And then the maintenance, which is a good chunk of the van, I spent, what did I write there? $1,045 so far, I think, on the van. I had to buy a belt kit came with two pulleys, like the idler pulley and a tensioner pulley. I had to buy brake fluid, transmission fluid. I had to buy my transmission cooler. I bought an air filter, battery, alignment, and exhaust was $487 because I needed a whole new muffler and exhaust piping to fit with the lift / my old one was rusted out and poo. So yeah, I spent $5,100 on a van, which is now fully functioning, but it still needs tires and it still needs the rest of the inside built. As in, I need to build a bed platform. I need to buy a mattress, some lumber. I have to get more panels or more side paneling. I'm gonna have to get some wood for a shelf, counter. The roof's not done. Need to buy a fan, solar panels, a fridge, all that stuff. So by the time I'm done, this is gonna be very expensive. But yeah, $5,100 for a lifted Astro van that's fully functional, and the maintenance is sort of now up to date. So anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you on the next episode.